Hello MotoGP fans, welcome back to ZNGP Today. The MotoGP season is heating up, and two of the biggest names so far share not only a last name but also a training routine. Despite being fierce rivals on track, Marc and Álex Márquez continue to train together as they prepare for the upcoming Grand Prix of the Americas. Pecco Bagnaia is feeling the pressure after Marc Márquez's sensational start to the 2025 MotoGP season. With Marquez winning every Sprint and Grand Prix so far, Bagnaia has struggled, not just against his new teammate but even against Álex Márquez on year-old machinery. Now, the Ducati star is looking for solutions as the season moves forward. Despite a tough start to the 2025 MotoGP season, Pedro Acosta's manager, Valera, has firmly denied speculation that the young Spanish rider could leave KTM in the near future. With rumors circulating about a possible move, Valera has clarified that Acosta is fully committed to his current contract, which runs through 2026. Fabio Quartararo endured a tough weekend at the Argentine GP, finishing 14th after a first corner collision and struggling with race pace. The Yamaha rider was left frustrated, admitting that he sees little to take away from the weekend. With the Americas GP up next, Quartararo remains cautious about his expectations. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. With the next race taking place at the Circuit of the Americas COTA, the Marquez brothers have returned to their usual training ground, the Espar Circuit in Guadalajara, Valencia. Since official MotoGP bikes are not allowed outside of testing, Marc and Álex are using Ducati Panigale 955 cubic centimeters street bikes, specially prepared for them. These machines, producing 155 horsepower and weighing nearly 175 kilograms, are the closest they can get to their actual race bikes while training. This private training session is crucial as both riders aim to continue their strong performances this season. When it comes to the Grand Prix of the Americas, there is no bigger name than Marc Márquez. The 8-time world champion has dominated the circuit, winning 6 consecutive times from 2013 to 2018, with his last victory there in 2021. So far in 2025, Marc has been nearly unstoppable, securing pole position, sprint wins, Grand Prix victories, and fastest laps in both Thailand and Argentina. With momentum on his side, he arrives in Austin as the clear favorite. "This track has always been special for me. Hopefully, we can keep this rhythm going." Quote from Marc. While Marc has been the dominant force at COTA, Álex Márquez has struggled in recent years. He secured a podium there in Moto2 in 2018, but since moving to MotoGP, his results have been mixed, a retirement in 2023 and only 1 point scored in 2024. However, this season has been different. Despite riding last year's Ducati, Álex has finished second in both Thailand and Argentina, leading multiple laps and proving to be a strong contender. "I'm feeling better than ever. Let's see if we can keep this momentum going in Austin." Quote from Álex. The Espar Circuit has been a key training ground for the Marquez brothers for several years. Owned by former rider Jorge Martinez Espar, the facility has been instrumental in helping riders prepare before and during the season. Marc has a special connection to this track. After training here last year, he ended a 1,000-day winless streak by taking victory at the Aragon Grand Prix. During their latest session, the Marquez brothers were joined by rising stars like David Alonso, Isan Guevara, Adrian Huertas, Ivan Ortela, and John Masia, who also used the circuit to refine their skills. With both Marquez brothers training harder than ever, it's clear that they are the biggest threats at the start of the season, and the ones to beat in Austin. From training partners to on-track rivals, Marc and Álex Márquez continue to push each other to new heights. With COTA up next, will Marc extend his dominance? Or will Álex finally claim victory over his brother? We'll find out soon at the Grand Prix of the Americas. It's been a difficult start for Pecco Bagnaia, who has fallen behind in the Ducati pecking order. While Marc Márquez has taken pole positions, victories, and fastest laps, Bagnaia has been unable to match his teammates' pace. Even more concerning is that Álex Márquez, riding a year-old Ducati, has outperformed him, finishing runner-up in both Argentina and Thailand. Bagnaia has admitted that he may return to a setup closer to last year's Desmosedici as he struggles to find confidence with the front of his bike. MotoGP analyst Neil Hodgson explained, "He doesn't seem like himself. The shockwave of having Marc in the garage has knocked the wind out of him. He's questioning himself, and when you try harder, you can actually make things worse." It's not just Marquez's performances that have rattled Bagnaia. The Italian is also still recovering from the disappointment of losing the 2024 title to Jorge Martin. Even though he had factory support, Bagnaia was beaten by Martin on a satellite Pramac Ducati in last year's dramatic season finale. Now, he faces an even bigger challenge. His own teammate is kicking lumps out of him in every session, as former rider Michael Laverty put it. "You're already wounded from losing a title, you rebuild over the winter, and then your new teammate starts beating you in every session. It's tough to rebound." On top of that, Bagnaia is struggling with Ducati's 2025 bike, feeling less comfortable than he did on last year's machine. While Bagnaia searches for answers, Marc Márquez is thriving. The 8-time world champion has taken maximum points from the first 2 rounds, and now he heads to his favorite circuit, COTA, where he has won 6 times in the past. If Marquez secures another dominant victory in Texas, his lead in the championship could become a mountain to climb for Bagnaia. Hodgson explained just how overwhelming the Marquez factor can be. "Marc is celebrating, so is the team. You can't escape it. You're sat there thinking, get me away from it." For Bagnaia, the hope is that the return to European circuits will bring better results. But by the time that happens, the championship gap may already be significant. Pecco Bagnaia is facing a mental and technical battle in 2025, trying to rediscover his best form while dealing with a dominant Marc Márquez in the same garage. Can he bounce back before it's too late, or is Marquez on his way to making this championship his own? All eyes now turn to the Grand Prix of the Americas. The hype around Pedro Acosta's MotoGP debut was immense, but his first 2 races in the Premier class have not gone as expected. The Red Bull KTM rider showed early promise in both Thailand and Argentina but struggled to maintain his performance across full race distances. In Thailand, Acosta finished 6th in the sprint, but his Sunday race was disastrous. A crash sent him down the order, and he ended up 19th, out of the points. In Argentina, he managed 9th in both the Sprint and Grand Prix, later promoted to 8th after AI Ogura's disqualification. Currently, Acosta sits 10th in the overall standings, a long way from championship leader Marc Márquez. With KTM's struggles evident, rumors of a potential exit have surfaced, suggesting Acosta could look elsewhere for a competitive ride. Despite the speculation, Acosta's manager Albert Valera has dismissed any talk of an early departure, stating in an interview with Speedweek, "Pedro Acosta has a contract with KTM until the end of 2026, and there is no performance clause. Measuring results in this way is complicated, and both sides are fully committed to delivering their best." He also made it clear that Acosta has had no discussions with other teams. "We haven't spoken to anyone about Pedro's future, let alone negotiated. There's absolutely no reason to panic. The first races are always unique. It will be more telling when MotoGP comes to Europe." This statement puts to rest any claims that Acosta is actively seeking a move away from KTM. With a long season ahead, Acosta's focus remains on improvement with KTM. His manager made it clear. "Pedro wants nothing more than to reach the top in MotoGP with KTM. Everything else will be a discussion for after 2027. The upcoming European rounds, starting with the Spanish Grand Prix in Jerez, will be crucial. KTM will need to address Acosta's late race drop-offs and overall performance to keep their young star competitive. So, while the results haven't been ideal, Pedro Acosta and KTM remain locked in for the long run. But with the fierce competition in MotoGP, the pressure will be on both rider and team to step up their game as the season moves forward. Will Acosta find his form in Europe? We'll find out soon. Quartararo's race in Argentina was over almost before it began. A collision with Marco Bezzecchi at the first corner forced him to the back of the pack, and from there, it was a struggle to recover. The former world champion didn't mince words about his disappointment. "There's not much to say. The contact with Bezzecchi was unfortunate, and I dropped to last. But even without that, our pace wasn't great all weekend. Maybe we could have finished a couple of places higher, but it was a really tough weekend in terms of pace. For me, there's nothing positive to take away. Maybe the single lap pace was okay. We were just a tenth and a half off the front row in qualifying, but the race pace was a disaster." Quote from Quartararo. With Yamaha still struggling to close the gap to Ducati, Quartararo knows that improvements must come soon. Despite his frustrations, Quartararo attempted to find ways to maximize his performance by studying the riding styles of other competitors. He specifically highlighted how following Pecco Bagnaia provided some benefits. Especially from turn 3 to turn 7, being behind someone helps because of the long straight. Turn 6 also makes a difference. I tried to use that to my advantage. In the end, I did my lap almost alone, but following Pecco was useful because we have similar riding styles. It helped, especially in qualifying. However, race pace remained his biggest concern, as even these small advantages weren't enough to make a difference when it mattered. Quartararo now turns his attention to the upcoming America's GP in Austin. While COTA has been a favorable track for him in the past, he refuses to set expectations this time. "COTA is a track where I think I can manage myself, but if I need help, I'll find a way. Every time I expect something, it's the opposite. I don't know what to expect, and I prefer not to expect anything." It's a clear sign of his growing frustration. Without major improvements from Yamaha, Quartararo feels that any optimism could be misplaced. Quartararo's disappointment is just another chapter in Yamaha's ongoing struggles. The team has fallen behind the top contenders, and despite efforts to improve, they remain off the pace in race conditions. His cautious approach heading into the next round reflects the uncertainty within the Yamaha camp. We'll see if we can improve a bit next time. With Austin just around the corner, all eyes will be on Yamaha to see if they can take a step forward, or if Quartararo's frustration will continue to grow. Another tough weekend for Fabio Quartararo, who leaves Argentina with more questions than answers. Can Yamaha find solutions before the America's GP, or will Quartararo face another frustrating race? We'll find out in just a few days. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. See you next time.